Mary Lynn, do you have everybody on your team?
Yes, we do.
So you're ready. Okay. Well, it's 11 o'clock, so we'll get started. I think Fort Payne, y'all are the only school that has joined us today. So welcome. Just so everybody knows, I'm Jennifer McCurdy. I'm the director of Northeast Alabama Community College Entrepreneurial Center, and we're located in Rainsville off campus. We're excited to have the students today from UAB Barefield Entrepreneurship Program to answer questions about entrepreneurship. We've had a lot of interest in the community, and I think there's students who are already interested in entrepreneurship locally. And I hope this gives y'all a better idea of what classes might look like in entrepreneurship and maybe even in general that you can pursue some type of entrepreneurial efforts. And just to give you some background, we launched the Entrepreneurial Center in Rainsville earlier this year, and we're trying to focus on K-12 students, college students in our local community. And it's just an opportunity for us to introduce entrepreneurship and provide a deeper understanding to our community about what's happening around innovation entrepreneurship in general in the state. Like I said, we're located off campus, and I would encourage you, and I think some of you are planning to be here on April 16th, and the entrepreneurship class will be joining us from UAB, a couple of them that day as well. So you'll have a chance to meet some of the faces you'll see today. So I'm just moderating the discussion. If you have questions, drop those in the chat box. Just let your teacher know, and we'll answer those questions at the end of the program. So we're going to get started. And first, I'd like to invite our students with UAB to introduce themselves and just share why you chose to study entrepreneurship. And we'll begin with Mary Lynn.
Hi, everyone. I can start and then we can just kind of popcorn around for the introductions. So, as Jennifer said, I'm Mary Lynn Bailey. I'm a senior at UAB, majoring in entrepreneurship, and I'm graduating this semester. I graduated from Scottsboro High School. Scottsboro is my hometown. Graduated from there in 2021. And I chose to study entrepreneurship coming into college because I wanted a broad degree that could be used in a lot of different ways. Since whenever I was 18, I didn't know exactly what industry or what career path I was going to choose. But whenever I looked at the entrepreneurship degree at UAB, it was brand new at the time. I saw that some of the classes were entrepreneurial marketing and sales, entrepreneurial finance and accounting, entrepreneurial strategy and operations. So, some of those things that you may only get one segment of if you study just finance or just accounting or just marketing. I wanted to have a little bit of all of it. So, that's why I chose to study entrepreneurship.
Hi, everybody. My name is Patrick Neal. I grew up in Birmingham. I've lived in Birmingham my whole life. I'm majoring in economics, and I have a minor, or I hopefully will have a minor in entrepreneurship. I'm also a senior here at UAB, and I really jumped into the minor in my second and third year with the understanding that I wanted to do something. I wanted to, grow an autonomous future for myself um, in the next 5 to 10 years, and hopefully one day, be my own boss. Initially, I had no idea, what I was going to do, how I was going to do it, but I think the true thing about entrepreneurship is you pull your other passions and interests into it, and then you let the entrepreneurship program really grow it that way. So
Hey, how everybody doing? My name is Nasir Bashir. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm currently an entrepreneurship major, and going into high school, I knew I was gonna go to college, but I didn't really know what I was gonna study. But I had my own little business ventures on my own, like selling shoes and stuff. So I did know I was gonna one day have my own business or try to. So once I got to college and I realized that being an entrepreneur, like an entrepreneurship major was an actual thing that I could seek out. And that's when I decided I wanted to become an entrepreneurship major. So yeah.
Hi everybody. My name is Kaylee Meek. My major is entrepreneurship and I'm minoring in studio art. And I really chose to study entrepreneurship because I knew I loved art and I knew I wanted to call the shots, someday, and not really, work under somebody or for the rest of my life. So that's really why I chose to study entrepreneurship. And I'm also from Birmingham, so I thought UAB was the best choice for me.
Hey guys, my name is Josh Jackson. I'm also an entrepreneurship major. I'm from Helena, Alabama. So for me, as far as like why I studied entrepreneurship, I was always in high school, kind of running around with the camera. I was doing broadcasts. I loved storytelling, and then outside of high school, I had the chance to intern for a video production company and really learn the ins and outs of like what it looks like to operate a business, and like fell in love with that aspect as well as the storytelling. So when I got to UAB and found out that there was an entrepreneurship major, I figured that was like a best fit because of the diversity of the classes we have and just the resources that we're given. So
Hey everybody, my name is Naya Gagakuma. My major is entrepreneurship. I'm from Hoover, Alabama. Why I studied entrepreneurship? I know wanted to go to college. I know I wanted to study business, but I also knew I wanted to have my own business potentially one day. So I found out UAB was offering an entrepreneurship major, excuse me, and I just thought that that would be a great opportunity for me. So I'm excited.
Hey everyone, my name is McKinley Baird and I'm from Birmingham as well, kind of a little bit outside. It's called Chelsea. Some of y'all are probably familiar with that area, but went to UAB originally to play golf. So I really had no idea what I wanted to do. I was chasing a couple other random things, but was really kind of tied up in athletics and that whole world. And I know some of you can probably relate to that. Didn't kind of found all my validation and self-worth in that and didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life after. But I majored in entrepreneurship because first off, I would just kind of my personality, like I would be a nightmare employee. Like if I was kind of told what to do and given a ceiling, like I kind of needed to be given the tools and be able to go run with it and make something my own. And so it wasn't necessarily that I had a business idea and that I wanted to chase that. It was more for me, as we'll get into this kind of today, was more kind of the mindset, right, of kind of my personality and where I would fit in best. But with entrepreneurship, you come out with this super unique, well-rounded perspective on everything business, right? You learn, like Marilyn said, management, accounting, finance, communications, like all in one. So you don't really specialize in any one particular thing, but you kind of get everything in one. But you also learn, hey, how do I build a team? When to jump ship? How businesses work behind the curtain from the ground up. And so that was just a super game changer for me. And I hope this meeting is encouraging for y'all.
Is that everyone? I think it is.
Yes.
Okay, so as you can see, we have a very diverse group with a lot of different perspectives and reasons for jumping into the entrepreneurship program at UAB. So our next question is, can you tell us how studying entrepreneurship is different from studying business? And Mary Lynn, I think you have a couple people lined up to answer those questions.
Yeah, so I'll start off on this question, and I'll say first, there's really no right or wrong answer, whether you jump into finance, economics, um, computer science, or the entrepreneurship program. I think it's really about, taking the best of both worlds, pulling a Hannah Montana and tying everything together and really just pursuing both aspects of it. I'll say that, finance and economics, I'm kind of majoring in that area, and that's where a lot of my experience is. But those sorts of classes are much more traditional. You're sitting down, you're taking notes, you're taking tests, sometimes daily quizzes. And it's, you're sometimes reading outdated textbooks. But then when you jump into the entrepreneurship program and those sorts of classes, it's really a great experience to sit back, relax, let your mind run, be curious, and really just listen to whether it's your professor, your parents, your coach, really derive some sort of passion and interest from those people. And then, like I said, tie everything together and, create something. I think all of us have a different interest. Nas is interested in sports. Josh is interested in photography. I'm currently pretty interested in simulated investment analysis. That sounds like a buzzword, but um, you can pull all these things together and then sit back and relax and just wonder, okay, now how can I take what I know and impact the world? Um, but yeah, that's just right off the rim, basic differences from those sorts of courses.
And I'm just going to add to that briefly. What I alluded to in the first question is really my answer as far as entrepreneurship is different from business, because instead of getting just one aspect of business that you would get in a different major, entrepreneurship teaches you a little bit of everything, but it's through the lens of um, running your own business instead of working for a company. And I would also say with a degree, like a formal degree in entrepreneurship, is different from a business degree because it is riskier. Um, Getting a degree in another major like finance or accounting, it's very traditional that you will receive a job in that industry because of that piece of paper that you have worked for 4 years on. With entrepreneurship, if you have a piece of paper saying you have a degree in entrepreneurship, it doesn't guarantee you a job in any space. But we say in our program, come for the education, not for the degree. So for 4 years of really deep education, really interesting learning experiences, especially these outreach classes where we work with entrepreneurs. You'll have so many experiences to talk about in job interviews. And I've had 4 internships while I've been in college and got really good feedback based on what I've learned in the hands-on approach in entrepreneurship compared to other business classes.
Okay, so our next question is, what have you learned about the entrepreneurial mindset in your curriculum? I know Mary Lynn and I have talked about this several times about how entrepreneurship isn't just about being an entrepreneur. You learn so much more than that. So if you could just expand upon that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll kind of tell a story. I think that kind of coincides with this question pretty well. So it was my junior year, and I kind of started dipping my toe in the water as far as kind of going out on the job search / looking for an internship. And kind of the thing I had in my head, so I'm more kind of like Patrick, like super interested in the finance world and kind of that sector within entrepreneurship. And so when I got out and I started talking to people in that world, I always dreaded the question when it came up of like, hey, Mac, like, what do you major in? Right. Because I thought when I said entrepreneurship, that was just kind of, I don't know, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, or I was kind of scatterbrained. I thought they were looking for, the word, hey, I major in finance, which that was just not the case for me. And so when that question came up, I would always dread it. And when I every single person that I encountered, when I told them that I majored in entrepreneurship, their demeanor immediately changed, and they were just like, "Oh my gosh, like, are you serious? That's exactly what we're looking for." And it happened at every single person, every single place, every single person that I talked to. And it was just kind of this moment of realization of like, holy crap, like this is what people are looking for. Like these intangibles of like, hey, I'm a go-getter. I take initiative. I'm going to go and, do things on my own. Like no matter where you are, like people are looking for that mindset and that drive, and they will make a position for you, right? Like they just started making up jobs just so they could have me. And so that was like a huge light bulb moment as far as like how entrepreneurship has obviously played into my life so far. We're just getting started. We're just out of the gate. But I would say it's just those intangibles that are like, if you know you've got them, you've got them. And they're really special. And all these people on this call have them. And it's special within our major.
And then Patrick or Josh, can you add to like what the entrepreneurial mindset means to you?
Yeah, so something similar to what McKinley just alluded to, it's really about being a human, you know. When you come together or go into an interview or internship, they're not necessarily looking for the smartest kid or, that nerdy kid that knows everything or can answer any question. They're looking for someone that can be a friend, be a team member, be curious, ask questions. And so when you really find yourself in that role, if you ever do, it's really interesting because it's nothing like you'd expect when you're coming out of high school where you're like, oh dang, if I'm not, 4.0 student, I'm never going to make it, because that's just not true. I mean, everyone knows that a lot of the successful entrepreneurships were dropouts in college. They found some passion that drove them to, quit everything they had going on in their life that they deemed unimportant and truly drill all time and effort into a different venture. And so when it comes to, taking a step back and realizing, okay, I have this other interest. I know kind of the area I want to go into, but I don't want to bog down a ton of time or effort doing something that I don't really think would be feasible in the next 5 years. That's where the entrepreneurship program comes into play, and it really just builds you up and kind of gives you an initial platform for you to just run and just take your experiences, your interests, and just let it fly. Yeah.
Great. I think personally, like the biggest takeaway just about the entrepreneurial mindset for me, and we talk a lot about this in the program, is being able to separate the person and the idea. Because if you don't, and you receive feedback or constructive criticism, it's easy to feel discouraged and like, oh man, it's me, I'm the problem. They don't understand the idea. But really opening your mind and being open to feedback is like a big takeaway for me for sure. As I said previously, I work in the video production space, and we work alongside clients all the time and show them our product and show them, here's what we have so far, and they'll give us a lot of feedback, and oftentimes it's very critical, revisions and whatnot. But rather than being offended or like, oh man, like I'd made a bad product, I can see that one way or another. I can be like, oh, this is bad, or oh, there's room for improvement and room for growth. And I feel like that can be applied in, every aspect of your life. It's just being open to positive feedback. So
Anyone else have anything to add? Okay, something else that in life, I think students will benefit from hearing more about is how entrepreneurship lends itself to teamwork. I mean, that's just part of everyday life. So y'all are already working on projects with the Entrepreneurial Center here in Rainsville as a team. So can you just talk a little bit about how that's been beneficial to you so far?
I could answer that. So me personally, I've always been someone who does work on my own. I'm an introvert, so I don't really talk to people. I'd rather just get the work done on my own. But just being in the entrepreneurship classes, I've had to learn to adapt to working with other people, getting new perspectives, and just doing things with other people. And I feel like doing that has helped me, one, become more open to talking to other people, and also just learning new things from what other people have learned throughout their process in business. So, yeah.
And then I can also share, I think the point that Josh was making about being able to receive feedback and separating ideas from people has been really important in a team dynamic, and being able to receive feedback. I would also say something that we talk a lot about whenever you're forming a team is knowing if you're an artist or a business person. So an artist is not necessarily like painting artist or musical artist, but the craft of the business. You may have created the product or the service. And if that's you, then you need to find your business person that has the complementary skills, because you may know how to create a great product, but you don't know how to market it, or you don't know how to do the financial aspect. So finding people with complementary skills is really important. That's something that we talk about a lot with how to build teams. So I'm the team lead of this team in ENT 425, which is a senior level class. And so I knew a lot of these individuals already from previous classes and really seeked all of them out so that I could build this team. And it's just been a great experience with the way that we form teams, even within our classes, so that we know each other's personalities really well. We know how we work together. And so that's something that I'll take in my future career, and I think all of us will.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with what both Nas and Marilyn said, and I just really want to add as well that um, every team is going to be different too, and so there's really going to be that sort of give and take process between every single team that you work for, and there's going to be some days where there's like the energy will be different or the energy will be low from certain team members, and so it's really just that like balancing game. Like there's some people who might be 80% one day and then you have to be the other 20%, or someone will be 20% and then you have to be the 80%. And so it's really reflective with what your teammates are doing. And so it's important to have that communication and really make sure that you're listening to your teammates. And so because when times like those come, it's I think it's really important to kind of reflect that, but also, you know, be proactive in your job. So if somebody's kind of not feeling well and you're seeing that, being proactive is a very important note that I like to always keep in mind when working with different teams.
Kaylee, is there any kind of communications component to the entrepreneurship program? Is there a course in that, or is that something optional?
I definitely believe communication is just a soft skill that you just learn just as it comes with working with different teams. So, for example, this class is one of the two classes I believe in this entrepreneurship curriculum where we like a bulk of the classes through teamwork. And so I believe communication just comes like as you're just diving head deep into all of these classes where you're meeting new people every single semester and you're um, meeting new personalities and new like workflows of how other people work.
Okay. And then this is something that I stress all the time too, and it's networking. How important networking is, and how high school students can start building their network now.
So I'll actually answer that one. So within entrepreneurship, networking is very important. It's very vital. And in order to network effectively, you must be able to step outside of your comfort zone. Within networking, you will be able to have access to resources and also opportunities. Once you build that network, it builds a community. And what we always taught in these entrepreneurship courses, our community is lifelong. And not only that, your community will also help you to drive your entrepreneurial ventures as well. So I really want high school students to connect on social media using like LinkedIn, Instagram, reach out to alumni, and also just join clubs and other organizations within your community to help you build that network.
And to piggyback on what Naya said, I feel like networking is really important for entrepreneurs because one, you're sometimes your own brand. So like for you to get yourself out there and get to help build your brand up, you would have to talk to other people. You would have to build relationships with other people. That's the only way for you to grow. And so I feel that's why I feel like that's the main importance of networking. And something that I feel like high schoolers can start doing to networking is go on social media or just talk to people around their communities um, with things that they're interested in, and just it may be like stuff they're not interested in, just trying to get different outlooks on life and perspectives on things that they could just learn on a day-to-day basis. So yeah.
And I'm also going to add to that really quick and say, many of us, or at least in my experience, didn't start like networking professionally on social media until college. But I definitely don't think it's too early in high school to start creating a LinkedIn account, and doing things like that, where you can look up people that are currently in jobs that you may be interested in, and you can reach out to them and see if they have any guidance or tips for you. And you can also look on LinkedIn and search for people in jobs you're interested in, and then see where they went to school, what they majored in, what kind of internships they had, all their past experiences. So you can learn that way on how they got to where they are now.
Okay, and some of you are already entrepreneurs. We've Joshua and Nos, I think, are two that are entrepreneurs. But Nos, I want you to talk about too how you even ended up at UAB.
So I also play football. So I was recruited here to play football. I knew I was gonna be a business major, but I didn't know like in what aspect of business I was gonna actually venture to. But then once I spoke with my advisor, and she said that I had an option to do entrepreneurship. That's what brought me.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't really consider myself an entrepreneur, but I think like that's kind of a cool thing because really all entrepreneurship is, you have an idea and you're passionate about it and you just go out there and share it with people. Um, so I guess for me personally, I was really blessed to kind of figure out what I wanted to do from an early age. And was just, taking any opportunity I could get to make videos or do photography and just do what I loved. And then, that just kind of funneled into now I work for this small startup company that is very entrepreneurial and not only get to do the video stuff, but also get to be close to the business owner and learn, as him being an entrepreneur, like what does it look like to actually operate a business? So I guess that's something I'd encourage a lot of people to do is not just, you find your passion, you find what you love doing, but go and chase somebody who's doing the same thing and years, from where you want to be and learn what they've learned. So.
Birmingham's a hub for entrepreneurship too. Y'all have the innovation depot there, and I know y'all have. Do you have classes there as well? I feel like y'all operate out of there some or meet there. Um, So I can't emphasize enough too, if you're trying to network or hook up with someone that's an entrepreneur, that's a place to be. Birmingham is amazing for entrepreneurship. And one of our questions is, what is the job outlook for someone in the entrepreneurship field and the estimated growth? And I know we've talked about it, but I'd like for the students to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah, I can answer this. So there isn't a exact job outlook for this degree. You can pair this with literally any interest you have. If you want to be a musician, if you want to be a photographer, if you want to like open a restaurant, so it really can be anything that you're interested in. But the job growth is exponential. We talk a lot about growth in our program, and that as humans, just in general, we're not good at thinking about growth in an exponential way. But that's what can happen whenever you have a good idea. Um, so in entrepreneurship, the average entrepreneur fails. So we also talk a lot about being different than the average person because 9 out of 10 ideas are going to be bad. But once you get one good idea, it's going to outweigh all of the 9 bad ideas that you've had. So yeah, just thinking about being an outlier, being different from the average, that's how you'll be successful as an entrepreneur. But yeah, does anyone else have something to share on that question?
Yeah, kind of like Mary Lynn said, it really is up to you. You take your interests and then you can either network on LinkedIn, look what other members that share similar interests are doing. But yeah, I mean, you can really just explore different options. And then once you find that passion or that dream or that aha moment, that's, where you can really start to run. I think in today's world, when every company is trying to automate that entry level role and, tack out that person that they were normally paying, I think there's a $200 ChatGPT model now. And so every associate or manager is just firing all their analysts and they're just hiring a PhD AI model. And so in a world like that, entrepreneurship is the best thing to be getting into because you are truly, you know, figuring out, okay, where are some little pinholes where there isn't anything, or there is something I can add value to. And that I think in the next 50 years, most successful people will be those entrepreneurships that kind of notice these trends and we're like, okay, I'm going to take my business to the next level.
Something Mary Lynn and I've talked about too is just the fact that by taking the classes in entrepreneurship, you're really gaining more of critical thinking, problem solving, those types of skills that you're going to need in any job you do. And I think that this will be a good time for you all to talk about exactly what you plan to do after you graduate. I think that the students will find that they'll be surprised at what you're going into.
Yeah, sure. I'll comment on this first. So I am currently kind of going into like kind of the stages of becoming like a personal financial planner, financial advisor. But right now I specialize in this concept called the infinite banking concept. But in this world, you're kind of like given the tools and it's up to you, just like I said earlier. And it's up to you to kind of, have your own clients, build your book, add value to people, just like Patrick was saying. That's the name of the game, is just how do I, once I've mastered something else, I need to go find other avenues that I can bring more value to, the people in my circle. And so that would kind of be my take on it. And of course, there's no ceiling or floor with that. Like it's all kind of up to you. So you kind of have to have, like I said earlier, those intangibles like discipline and taking initiative, providing value for others. And it's just already like provided some awesome opportunities. Like I'm in Las Vegas right now, at a conference learning about different investments and stuff like that. So it's been great. So I guess that would be my plans after graduation.
I can also share my post-grad plans. So last year I started pursuing careers, and just jobs in the aviation industry. I was pretty interested in aviation and airports. And last summer I did an internship at the Birmingham Airport Authority, here at the Birmingham Airport in planning and development. So I did a lot of project management for them on their construction and their growth. And I really just enjoyed learning the lingo of aviation, working with different airlines, and just the whole passenger experience. So after that, I applied to United Airlines to be a flight attendant, and I recently accepted a job offer with them. So this summer, I'll start my training in Houston, Texas as a flight attendant, and then I'll move to a different city from there. Um, but that's something that is not very entrepreneurial, in the sense that I will be working for a large company. But this degree can be used in so many ways, and I feel like this is an example of that. Um, because yeah, I'll be working for a large company, but I'll be using the skills of teamwork, working with different people every single day. I won't have the same other flight attendants on board. Every flight will be different, even throughout the day. So I'm really excited to use just the problem solving skills, creative thinking, and the team aspect in this job.
Yeah, so the past 6 months for me has been pretty much a whirlwind. Right before Christmas, I got an opportunity to work in a sales role for financial products, where I'm selling index funds or selling annuity accounts or insurance products to, whoever will take it or whoever will trust a 23-year-old to take their money. Um, but I really took a step back and I didn't really enjoy that area of finance. I really enjoyed the investment analysis side of things. And so, sure enough, a week later, I also got offered an international MBA program, pretty nice program with the University of South Carolina. And so I looked at both options and I was like, okay, I have somewhat of an idea of what I want to do on the entrepreneurial side, or I have this other opportunity where I can go work in sales, maybe, you know, throw myself into this field, but potentially be stuck in this field 10 years from now. And so I took a step back and I was like, well, I think the best thing for me is to continue educating myself with the MBA program, hopefully gain some sort of international experience, immerse myself in a new culture, and really, most importantly, allow myself more time to work on what I'm truly trying to do. Um, I know Josh and Naz are current entrepreneurs, but uh, I'm an aspiring entrepreneur. I'm trying to develop a platform where, beginner investment traders can come onto the website, network with other like-minded members, perform simulated trading strategies before they're actually throwing money into the real world and risking it all, and then connect with social enterprises all at the same time. So uh, your teacher might get mad at me for saying this, but AI is your best friend. The past 6 months, I've learned Python, Flask, Swift UI, and I know how to create a development server on my computer. And so pulling all those things together and just understanding what it is you truly want to do. Um, my mom, she sends me Instagram reels all the time. I got her hooked on that, and she sent me something the other day, and it was like the 20% of your performance is extremely dependent on the people that you surround yourself with. And then 15% of downside performance can be affected if you surround yourself with a bunch of people that don't have similar interests. And I was sitting there watching the video, and I was like, well, I'm sitting in a room alone. It's 11:30 at night, and I just sent my mom a video back, and I was like, well, what if I'm just the only person in the room? And she said, it's up to you then. And so yeah, just taking all those experiences and wrapping it all together and figuring out what it is you want to do and how you're going to do it. I think that's the most important thing.
I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of what Patrick just said. I think my favorite piece of advice I've been given is your network or your network is your net worth. The people that you surround yourself in your community, they're your biggest supporters. So if you surround yourself with people who are gonna lift you up and want the best for you, you can't lose. So I'll just encourage everybody to go and be around, good people, find people who are interested in the same thing. Be humble enough to learn from them and just soak everything up that you can. That's benefited me a lot. And so yeah.
All right, I think there's a couple more that haven't shared with their after school plans or after college plans. What, Kaylee, I don't think you have.
Yeah, I'm happy to share. So, I'm currently on track to graduate at UAB in December, and I have done over my college career, I've done about four internships, and really, right now, what I'm looking for is to do something creative, something along the lines of any type of creativity. Right now, I currently own a photography business where I provide services to families, seniors, and couples. I've had this business since I was in high school, and so I've had the opportunity to, shoot for events, some weddings, and some small shoots here and there. And so really after graduation, I can plan on continuing that business and, growing it. And but I also acknowledge the fact that um, it's kind of a lonely business doing that by myself. And so I love really working with other people and meeting other people. And so I think I don't want to limit myself just with that. And so I'm also kind of looking towards working with a team, something creative. I currently do a internship with Southern Bride magazine, where I do video content for them. And so that has been a really great experience. And they've recently asked me to extend my internship with them. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And I really enjoy working with them. So that's really my future plan.
Naya?
Yes, so y'all know I'm an entrepreneurship major, so I just got offered an internship with a local nonprofit that provides services for kids and adults with disabilities. And I'm working in their marketing and PR sector, so I'm excited about that. But not only that, I'm in the process right now of creating my own women's fashion brand. So I've just been doing some market research, just getting in contact with different manufacturers and stuff to hopefully get that out by this summer. So I'm really excited about that.
That everyone? Okay, so before we wrap it up, I do want to remind the Fort Payne students that in the fall, Northeast Alabama Community College should have an opportunity for you to take an entrepreneurship class, which will be transferable to the UAB entrepreneurship program as an elective. So you can take some business classes in that entrepreneurship class as a dual enrollment class at Northeast, and that will transfer over to UAB. So and also, I'm here at the Entrepreneurial Center. So if you're interested in learning more, we have programs to kind of help you take your idea to an actual venture and make it into something that could be lucrative for you. So also other programs to kind of play off the entrepreneurship mindset. So you just let me know if you have an interest in that. And I appreciate the UAB entrepreneurship program. We're working on some information too, videos with this group to put into the school system to kind of give you an idea of what some ways to kind of hone in on entrepreneurship and things that you might want to start thinking about. So look for more of that, and we appreciate y'all participating, and thank you to the UAB students for your time today. We really appreciate it. If you have any more questions, Fort Payne, before we end the meeting? I don't see any, so thank y'all again.
Add real quickly.
Yeah,
Thank you
go
so
ahead.
much, Jennifer, for having us, and feel free to share our contacts with the Fort Payne class. All of us would be happy to answer any specific questions that you all have, if it's directly to one of us about anything you're interested in. So feel free to reach out to us anytime.
And we're going to upload this, I believe, to the senioryearcollective.com platform. That's through the Fort Payne Chamber of Commerce. And it's a website that you can access. It's geared towards seniors, but if you're a junior, which you are, I think some of you will be, you should tune into or check out the platform, and it's senioryearcollective.com. So we'll have this uploaded over the next week. So thank y'all again. We appreciate it. And if you need anybody's contact information, let me know. All right. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.